Christmas was supposed to be a time of joy, but that year something felt off. My office had organized a secret Santa exchange, and while I normally enjoyed these little traditions, I couldn't shake the feeling that this time it was different. The rules were simple: pick a name from the hat, buy a small gift, and leave it on their desk anonymously. The game had started smoothly. People were laughing, exchanging gifts, and enjoying the festive atmosphere. But when I received my present, a chill ran down my spine. It was a small black box, wrapped in paper that felt strangely damp. There was no tag, no handwriting, nothing to indicate who had given it to me. Curious but wary, I peeled back the wrapping and lifted the lid. Inside, nestled in red velvet, was a single Polaroid picture. It was a photo of me, taken from outside my bedroom window. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. The picture was recent. I recognized the clothes I had worn just the night before. My hands trembled as I flipped the photo over. Scrawled on the back in messy, uneven letters was a single word: soon. I glanced around the office, my heartbeat pounding in my ears. People were chatting, laughing, oblivious to the creeping horror I felt. Someone in this room had been outside my house, watching me. I tried to act normal, stuffing the box deep into my bag. Maybe it was a cruel joke. Maybe someone was trying to scare me. But as I forced a smile and joined the others, I couldn't ignore the sensation of eyes lingering on me from across the room. And then my phone vibrated in my pocket. A new message. No number. No name. Just a picture. A photo of my house, taken from the front door. I stared at the screen, my stomach twisting into knots. The photo was taken just moments ago. The porch light was still on, just as I had left it that morning. Whoever had sent it was there, or had been, watching. I forced myself to breathe, my fingers trembling as I locked my phone and looked around the office. Who's doing this? Was it a prank? A cruel joke? I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. I needed air. As I walked past the rows of desks, I felt something else, an awareness, like someone was watching me too closely. I turned my head slightly, scanning the faces of my co-workers. Some were deep in conversation. Others were typing away. But then I saw him. James. He sat near the window, staring directly at me. Unlike the others, he wasn't pretending to be busy. He didn't even blink. Just stared. My stomach clenched. James was quiet, always kept to himself. I didn't know much about him. No one did. I hurried to the restroom, locking myself inside. I needed to think. Needed to calm down. But then my phone buzzed again. Another message. This time it was a video. With shaking hands, I pressed play. At first, it was dark. Then, the screen flickered and I saw my bedroom. My bed. The covers slightly pulled back, as if someone had been sitting there. And then the whisper. You found my gift. Now it's your turn to give. I dropped the phone, my breath coming in short, panicked gasps. This wasn't a game. This wasn't a joke. Someone had been inside my house, and they weren't done with me yet. I clutched the sink for support, my mind racing. This couldn't be happening. It had to be a prank, some elaborate, twisted joke. But the weight in my chest told me otherwise. Someone had been in my bedroom, had sat on my bed, had watched me sleep. I forced myself to pick up my phone, my fingers slick with sweat. My reflection in the mirror looked pale, shaken. I tapped on the video again, pausing it at the last frame. There, just barely visible in the shadows, was the outline of a figure. Standing at the edge of my bed, watching. I felt sick. A loud knock on the bathroom door made me jump. I shoved my phone in my pocket, trying to steady my breathing. Hey, you okay in there? It was Sarah, one of my co-workers. Her voice was casual, but I could hear the concern beneath it. I forced a laugh. Yeah, just needed a minute. Well, hurry up. We're all waiting to open our gifts. The Secret Santa. I had completely forgotten. I splashed cold water on my face, trying to shake the feeling of dread. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe it really was just someone messing with me. But deep down, I knew better. I stepped back into the office, scanning the room for James. He was still sitting in the same spot, his eyes fixed on his computer screen. Had I imagined the way he was staring at me earlier? Finally, Sarah grinned, handing me a small wrapped package. Your turn. I forced a smile and tore open the wrapping paper. Inside was a small, ornate wooden box. My pulse quickened as I lifted the lid. A key. I stared at it, my mind spinning. It was old, heavy, the kind you'd expect to find in a Gothic mansion or an antique store. But why would someone give me this? There was a note beneath it, handwritten in the same messy, uneven letters as the message on the back of the Polaroid. "Come find me." A chill ran down my spine. I looked up, scanning the room, but no one was paying attention. Laughter, conversation, crinkling wrapping paper. Everything seemed normal. But I knew better. That night, after everyone had left the office, I sat in my car staring at the key in my hand. My phone buzzed again. Another message. This time an address. No words. No threats. Just a location. And I knew exactly where it was. My childhood home. I shouldn't have gone. Every instinct told me to ignore the message, to throw the key away, to pretend none of this had happened. But something deep inside, curiosity, fear, or maybe something darker, drove me forward. I arrived at the house just past midnight. It had been abandoned for years, its windows broken, the paint peeling like dead skin. I hadn't set foot inside since I was a child, since the night my parents vanished. I stepped out of my car, the wind whispering through the overgrown trees. The house loomed before me, its door slightly ajar as if expecting me. Clutching the key, I forced myself to move forward. Inside, the air was thick with dust and decay. The moonlight cast long shadows across the floor, and the silence was deafening. My footsteps echoed as I moved deeper into the house, guided by something unseen. Then I saw it. In the center of the living room stood a chair, and on it a figure. A man bound and gagged, his eyes wide with terror. His face, oh God, his face was familiar. It was James. His clothes were torn, his body trembling as he tried to speak through the gag. I took a step forward, but then I noticed something else. A second chair. Empty. A note was pinned to it, written in the same uneven handwriting as before. "A gift for you. Now take your seat." I felt a presence behind me. Cold breath on my neck. Before I could turn, before I could scream, the world went black. And then I understood. I was never meant to be the recipient. I was meant to be the gift. I've never liked Secret Santa. There's something unsettling about receiving a gift from someone unknown, like an invisible hand reaching into your life. But when my office announced the annual exchange, I joined anyway. It was just a game, just a bit of holiday fun. At least, that's what I told myself. The week leading up to the gift exchange was normal, except for one thing. A mirror. It arrived in my office cubicle, wrapped in thin red paper with a small tag that read, "For you." No name. No sender. Just a tall, antique mirror with an ornate gold frame. I assumed it was my Secret Santa gift, though it seemed extravagant compared to the candles and chocolates others were getting. Still, I thanked my colleagues, hoping someone would confess. No one did. When I looked into the mirror, I felt a strange unease. The glass was darker than normal, almost too deep, like it reflected something more than just my image. I shrugged it off and took it home, placing it in the corner of my bedroom. That night, I woke up to a soft sound. A tap, tap, tap. My heart pounded. It was coming from the mirror. I turned on the light. Nothing. Just my own reflection staring back at me. Shaking my head, I laughed at myself and went back to bed. But before I could fall asleep, my phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. "Do you like your gift?" A chill crawled up my spine. I looked back at the mirror. For a moment, I thought I saw movement, not behind me but inside the glass. The next day at work, I felt on edge. I watched my coworkers closely, searching for a guilty smile, a clue that this was all a joke. But everyone was acting normal. By lunchtime, another message arrived. "I see you." I swallowed hard, my hands shaking as I gripped my phone. I decided to reply. "Who is this?" No response. That night, the tapping came again. Louder. More insistent. I sat up, staring at the mirror. My reflection was normal, at first. But as I reached for the lamp, I noticed something off. My reflection's hand didn't move. It stayed at its side, even as I lifted mine. I froze. My reflection stared at me, unblinking. Then slowly it smiled. My breath hitched. The air in the room felt thick, suffocating. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. And then my reflection moved on its own. It took a step forward. Not in the real world. Inside the mirror. I scrambled backward, my chest tightening. The figure in the glass tilted its head, watching me with amusement. Then it raised a hand and knocked from the inside. I bolted from the room. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined my reflection standing just on the other side of the glass, waiting. The next day, I returned to work, exhausted. But the horror wasn't over. A new gift sat on my desk. This time, a small box wrapped in black paper. With trembling hands, I unwrapped it. Inside was a single Polaroid. It was a photo of me, taken from inside my bedroom. I nearly dropped it. The angle, whoever took this picture had been inside my house. I flipped it over. Written in the same scrawled handwriting as the messages was a single word. Soon. I looked around the office, panic rising in my throat. Was someone watching me? Was one of my coworkers behind this? James from accounting met my eyes across the room. He didn't smile, didn't nod, just stared. I grabbed my phone and typed out a message to the unknown number. What do you want? 3 dots appeared. A reply was coming. Then a single word. Switch. That night, I locked my bedroom door. I pulled a blanket over the mirror, refusing to look at it. Whatever was happening, whatever this thing was, I wouldn't let it win. At 3:12 a.m., my phone buzzed again. A new message. You can't hide from yourself. My stomach twisted. I stared at the covered mirror, my pulse hammering. And then, the blanket fell. No breeze. No movement. It just dropped. The mirror stood uncovered. And my reflection was gone. The glass was empty. A cold wave of dread washed over me. My breath came in short, panicked gasps. Then slowly a hand pressed against the inside of the glass. A hand that looked just like mine. Fingers spread, testing the surface. Then it pushed. The glass rippled, like water disturbed by a pebble. And something stepped out. Not a reflection. Not me. It was me. But different. Its eyes were just a little too dark. Its smile stretched a little too wide. I was frozen in place as it studied me, then stepped forward. I tried to run, but my legs wouldn't move. Then it leaned in, close enough that I could feel its breath. It whispered, "Your turn." I gasped, and suddenly I was falling backward, into the mirror. The last thing I saw before darkness swallowed me was myself, standing where I had been. My own face staring down at me, my own hand reaching toward the glass. But I wasn't in control anymore. I pounded on the mirror, screaming, but no sound came. The room was right there, so close, but I was trapped behind the glass. I watched in horror as the thing wearing my face stretched its arms, rolled its shoulders, then turned away from me. It picked up my phone, typed out a message. A moment later, my phone vibrated. The reflection of me grinned as I read the last message I would ever receive. Merry Christmas. Then it walked away, leaving me trapped, alone, watching, waiting. The end.